A young dude just took his own life because he had way too much pressure going on. Makes you wonder, are kids these days just not built to handle life's stress like before? I hit up a few young people about it, and honestly, their answers blew my mind. Right now, 45% of Gen Z say their mental health is poor, and that number keeps going up. In the last decade alone, suicide rates among teenagers have jumped by a shocking 62%. But here's the part that's really gonna mess with your head if you think about it. Everyone out there keeps saying that young people today are just way too soft to handle life. But what if that whole narrative we've been hearing isn't actually telling the full story here? What if this generation isn't weaker? They're just fighting invisible battles nobody ever warned them about. Look, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything or make you feel good with empty words. But I'm also not going to trash an entire generation without first understanding what's really going on. So let's get into the stuff that nobody actually wants to admit out loud right now. You didn't always feel like every little thing in your life was just too much to handle. There was probably a time when you could shake off bad stuff pretty easily without overthinking it. When getting a bad grade didn't feel like the entire world was literally crashing down around you. When someone's random comment didn't replay in your head on loop for 3 whole days straight. When you could actually fall asleep at night without your brain running a highlight reel of mistakes. But somewhere along the way, something inside you shifted and everything started feeling different and heavier. The world around you got louder, faster, more demanding, and it never seemed to slow down. And your nervous system started treating everyday normal stuff like they were actual life-threatening dangers to you. That's not weakness, by the way. So get that thought out of your head right now. That's your brain doing exactly what it's designed to do when it's been overwhelmed for way too long. So here's what the actual science says about all of this if you really want to understand it. The American Psychological Association found that Gen Z is the first generation raised entirely in digital chaos. That means constant comparison to others, 24/7 news cycles, and absolutely zero escape from social pressure. Your parents could leave their problems at school or work, but you carry yours everywhere in your pocket. Dr. Jean Twenger's research shows teens spending 5+ hours on screens are twice as likely to feel depressed. But here's the kicker that nobody ever talks about when they bring up screen time and mental health. It's not just that you're on your phone too much. It's what you're not doing because of it. Less real face-to-face time with people, less deep sleep at night, and way less healthy boredom. And yeah, boredom actually matters a lot because that's when your brain processes all your emotions properly. So now let's get into the part of this conversation that might actually sting a little bit. Some of what you're feeling right now isn't just because the world out there is genuinely hard. Some of it is because your brain simply doesn't have the tools it actually needs to cope properly. And look, that's honestly not your fault. But it is absolutely your responsibility to do something about it. See? Previous generations definitely had their own struggles and hard times. There's no doubt about that. But they also had something that most young people today simply don't have nearly enough of anymore. Reps. And I mean repetitions of actually handling discomfort without someone rushing in to rescue them. Real moments where they failed hard, felt absolutely terrible about it, and had to figure it out anyway. That kind of low-stakes stress actually builds what psychologists call stress inoculation over time in your brain. It's basically like emotional weightlifting. Your capacity to handle hard things grows when you practice handling them. But here's the thing that complicates all of this. A lot of young people simply never got those reps. Not because they're lazy or entitled, but because the adults around them were honestly just trying to help. Well-meaning parents solved every problem before their kids ever got the chance to actually struggle with it themselves. Schools kept removing anything and everything that might possibly cause even a little bit of discomfort. Everyone got participation trophies for showing up, and nobody ever learned what it actually felt like to lose. The intention behind all of it was protection, but the result was a generation that never built any calluses. Now I gotta be completely real with you about something important that needs to be said here. Just telling someone to toughen up is probably the most useless advice anyone could ever give you, honestly. You can't just flip some magical switch in your brain and suddenly become resilient overnight like that. But you absolutely can start building that resilience right now. One small, uncomfortable moment at a time. And here's where this whole conversation actually gets kind of interesting if you really think about it. The same generation that struggles so much with mental health is also the most self-aware generation in history. You actually talk openly about your feelings, which is something older generations literally could not bring themselves to do. You recognize when you need help and ask for it, which honestly takes way more guts than just pretending everything's fine. You're actively breaking toxic cycles that have been running through families for multiple generations before you. That's not being soft at all. That's actually pretty badass when you really stop and think about it. But here's the catch. Self-awareness by itself doesn't actually fix the underlying problem you're dealing with. Just knowing that you're anxious about something doesn't magically make all that anxiety suddenly go away on its own. Understanding exactly where your trauma came from doesn't mean that trauma is automatically healed now either. At some point, you have to move from just understanding the wound to actually doing the work to treat it. So let's talk about what actually works in real life when it comes to building mental resilience. First thing, you gotta stop treating comfort as the ultimate goal because that's actually holding you back big time. Comfort feels nice in the moment, sure. But real growth only happens when you step into discomfort on purpose. Every single time you avoid something hard, your brain learns that hard things are dangerous and should be avoided. Every single time you push through something hard, your brain learns you can handle way more than you thought. Second thing, you absolutely gotta get off the comparison treadmill because it's destroying your mental health daily. Social media shows you everyone's carefully curated highlight reel while you're stuck living your messy, behind-the-scenes life. That's not even close to a fair fight. And the problem is your brain doesn't know the difference. Third thing, and I know this is gonna sound super old school, but just hear me out on this one. Move your body even when you don't feel like it, and especially when you really don't feel like doing it. Exercise literally rewires how your brain responds to stress. And that's real neuroscience, not motivational BS. Fourth thing, find people who make you feel genuinely seen for who you are, not people who need you perfect. One real authentic conversation beats 1,000 likes any day. And your nervous system absolutely knows the difference. Now, here's the honest truth that absolutely nobody out there really wants to say out loud to you. Some of you watching this right now are going to hear everything I said and then do absolutely nothing about it. You'll agree that it all makes total sense. Then scroll to the next video and completely forget about it. That's the easy, comfortable path through life. And honestly, most people out there end up taking it. But I know some of you watching this right now are actually different from everyone else out there. Some of you are genuinely tired of feeling like this every day and ready to actually do something real about it. Not because someone told you that you should, but because you're completely done living in survival mode constantly. If that's you I'm describing right now, I really need you to understand something important about yourself. You're not broken as a person, but you might be what I'd call underbuilt when it comes to resilience. And the genuinely good news here is that you can start building that resilience right now, today, this exact moment. It's not going to be comfortable at all. And honestly, that discomfort is exactly the whole point of this. The discomfort you've been avoiding your whole life is actually the gym that your mind desperately needs right now. Depression and anxiety aren't life sentences handed down to you. They're actually signals trying to tell you something important. They're telling you that something in your life really needs to change, and you're the only one who can change it. I know that probably sounds really heavy to hear right now, and that's because honestly, it actually is. But it's also genuinely the most empowering thing you're going to hear today, if you really let it sink in. Because if it's completely up to you, That means you actually have real power to do something about your life. So here's my honest question for you before you click away from this video and move on today. What's one uncomfortable thing you've been actively avoiding that you know deep down would actually help you grow? Maybe it's a hard conversation. Maybe it's starting a new habit. Maybe it's finally asking someone for real help. Drop your answer in the comments below, and let's all keep each other accountable on this journey together. Because here's what I know for absolutely sure after everything I've learned and experienced in my life. The stronger version of you that can actually handle hard things already exists somewhere deep inside you right now. You just gotta stop hiding from discomfort and give that version of yourself a real chance to finally show up. Start small today. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because that perfect moment is never actually gonna come. And always remember this one thing. Resilience isn't something special that certain lucky people are just born with naturally. It's something that every single person has to deliberately build through practice over time, one rep at a time.